Have you ever been forced to confess your darkest secret by something not of this world? This is a true story about my friend Joe. He once cheated on his wife, a secret he thought he'd take to the grave, but then something strange happened. A supernatural force entered his life, and it compelled him to reveal the truth, not out of guilt, but out of fear. What was it, and why wouldn't it let him stay silent? Watch till the end to uncover the terrifying secret behind Joe's confession. I found the locket in the attic of our new house, buried under a pile of dusty hymnals. Its silver surface glinted despite the dim light, and when I touched it, a whisper slithered into my ear.
"You're mine."
My heart stuttered. I shoved it into my pocket, but the air turned cold, heavy, like someone was watching me. That was the first night I heard the footsteps pacing outside my bedroom door. We moved to the old Victorian on Maple Street in the summer of 2025, chasing a fresh start after my wife Clara lost her job. The house was cheap, too cheap, but I ignored the realtor's nervous glances. Clara, ever practical, saw potential in the peeling wallpaper and creaking floors. Our teenage daughter, Lily, hated it, said it smelled like old people and regret. I laughed it off, but the locket changed everything. The next morning I opened it. Inside was a faded photo of a woman, her eyes blacked out with ink. The whispers came again, louder, urging me to keep it close. I snapped it shut, but my hands trembled. Clara noticed my unease at breakfast. "You okay, Tom?" she asked, her brow furrowed. I lied, said I was tired, but the locket burned against my chest. That night I hid it in a drawer, but by morning it was back in my pocket. I didn't put it there. The challenge grew clearer. The locket wouldn't let me go. I decided to research its history. I drove to the local library, my fingers clutching the wheel as the whispers hissed nonsense in my head. The librarian, an older man named Harold, recognized the locket's description. "Belonged to Eliza Crane," he said, voice low. "Hung herself in that house in '89. Folks said she was possessed." I swallowed hard, the air thick with his warning. Back home, I locked the locket in a safe, but the whispers didn't stop. They grew angrier. It's not acting strange. She'd hum hymns I'd never heard, her eyes distant. One night, I caught her standing in the hallway, staring at the attic door. "Clara?" I whispered. She turned, her smile wrong, too wide.
"It wants us,"
she said. My stomach dropped. I grabbed her hand, pulled her to bed, and promised to fix this. But the footsteps returned, louder, circling the house. I checked every window, every door. Nothing. The resolution was fleeting. I'd stopped Clara's trance, but something darker was waking. Lily noticed it too.
"Dad, the shadows move,"
she said one evening, her voice small. I followed her gaze to the living room wall, where shadows flickered without a source. The locket, still locked in the safe, pulsed in my mind. I decided to destroy it. I grabbed a hammer from the garage, my heart pounding as the whispers screamed, "No!" I smashed the locket, but it didn't break. Instead, the room dimmed, and the air smelled of ash. Lily screamed, pointing at the mirror. My reflection grinned, but I wasn't smiling. I covered the mirror, but the locket was on the table again, untouched. I called Harold for help. He arrived with a leather journal, his hands shaking. "Eliza's diary," he said. "She wrote about a voice that made her do things, terrible things." I read the pages, each word colder than the last. Eliza claimed a demon lived in the locket, feeding on guilt. I'd cheated on Clara years ago, a secret I buried. The locket knew. It whispered my shame, promising to expose me unless I obeyed. I burned the diary, hoping to weaken it. But the flames flared blue, and Clara laughed from the kitchen. A laugh that wasn't hers. The house turned against us. Doors slammed shut on their own. Lights flickered, casting shadows that danced like figures. Lily stopped sleeping, said she saw the woman from the locket in her dreams, scratching at her eyes. I confronted the entity, shouting into the empty attic, "Leave us alone!" The air grew heavy, and a voice, not a whisper, but a growl, answered, "You invited me." I stumbled back, my chest tight. I'd brought the locket into our lives. I searched online for exorcists, but the internet crashed every time I tried. Clara's condition worsened. She carved symbols into the dining table, muttering in a language I didn't know. I locked her in our bedroom for her safety, her screams echoing as I slid the bolt. Lily and I huddled in the living room, the locket on the coffee table glowing faintly. I decided to bury it. I dug a hole in the backyard, the ground soft and cold like it was waiting. As I dropped the locket in, the soil shifted and hands, pale, claw-like, reached up. I scrambled back, dirt in my mouth, and filled the hole. The whispers stopped, but the silence felt worse. The next night, Clara broke free. I found her in the attic, holding the locket, her eyes black like the woman's in the photo.
It's me now,
She said, her voice layered, wrong. I lunged for the locket, wresting it from her hands. She clawed at me, but I ran, locking myself in the basement. The locket burned my palm, and the whispers returned, louder, promising peace if I gave in. I resisted, praying for strength, and the burning stopped. Clara collapsed upstairs, sobbing, herself again, for now. I knew it wasn't over. The locket was back in my pocket, always returning. I called a priest, Father Michael, who arrived at dawn. He sprinkled holy water, chanting prayers, but the locket vibrated and the air crackled. "It's strong," he warned. "You must reject it fully." I confessed my guilt to Clara, tears streaming, expecting her to leave me. She forgave me, her hand squeezing mine. Together, we burned the locket in a fire blessed by Father Michael. It melted, screaming, and the house went still. We thought we'd won, but the final challenge came at midnight. The footsteps returned, not outside, but inside me. My hands moved without my will, reaching for a knife. The voice growled, "You can't escape." I fought it, dropping the knife, my body shaking. Clara and Lily held me, their voices anchoring me. The presence faded, but as I looked out the window, I saw her, Eliza, her eyes black, watching from the street. She smiled, then vanished. We moved out the next day, but I still felt her gaze waiting.
Thank you for coming on this journey with me. If you've ever had an experience like this, tell me about it in the comments. I'd really like to know that I'm not the only one. And if you want to see more content, hopefully much more terrifying content, please like this video and subscribe. Stay safe out there.